Today, we are diving into an economic blueprint that is just staggering in its ambition. We're talking about a plan to completely reshape the future of an entire continent. This isn't just about small, incremental changes. No, this is about a $5 trillion transformation. So let's break down what that actually means.
$5 trillion. Just let that number sink in for a second. It's a figure that's so massive it's hard to even wrap your head around it. But this is the real scale of capital we're talking about, committed over just 5 years starting in 2026. And this isn't some fantasy, it's a detailed plan put together by NVC Fund Bank and its partners.
And that really brings us to the core question here, doesn't it? What happens when you strategically inject that level of investment into Africa? What does that future actually look like on the ground? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. But before we follow the money and get into the how, it's absolutely crucial to understand the why. This is so much more than just a spreadsheet of projects. It's guided by a really powerful vision, a set of core principles designed to make sure this transformation is built to last and includes everyone.
So this is the core philosophy, the big shifts in thinking. It's all about building connections, fostering Pan-African integration, to create huge continental value chains instead of just having isolated economies. It's about creating sovereign wealth by making things, by producing finished goods instead of just exporting raw materials. And, so importantly, it's about tapping into the power of a young continent through digital tools and sustainable, climate-friendly growth.
Okay, so with that big vision in mind, where does $5 trillion actually go? Let's get into the pillars of this transformation and see the specific breakdown. This chart tells you so much right away. You can immediately see where the priorities are. Look at that. A massive 24%, that's $1.2 trillion, is going straight into infrastructure, with energy right behind it. It's a crystal clear strategy. You can't build a modern economy if you don't first build the physical backbone, the roads, the rail, and reliable power. And here's the whole framework. Now, don't worry, we're not going to go through every single line, but just look at the top 4: infrastructure, energy, manufacturing, and agriculture. Together, they make up nearly $3.5 trillion. But what's also really interesting is the major investment in the digital economy, healthcare, and education. It's a strategy that builds up the physical and the human capital of the continent at the exact same time. So let's zoom in on that biggest pillar, infrastructure. The thinking here is simple, but it's really profound. Before you can have a single digital market or financial market, you've got to connect the physical continent itself. And we are not talking about minor upgrades here. We're talking about modernizing key arteries, like the highway from Cape Town to Cairo. We're talking about building high-speed rail between major economic hubs and creating a digital backbone with a pan-African fiber optic network. The whole point is to make moving goods, people, and data across the continent seamless and cheap. And the impact isn't just about faster supply chains. Building all of this, the new highways, the rails, the networks, is projected to create a massive 20 million jobs. That's the human payoff for all that concrete, steel, and fiber. All right, next up, let's move to a pillar that taps into one of Africa's greatest and honestly most underused assets, its land. The continent holds a staggering 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land. This plan aims to finally unleash that incredible potential. The strategy here is all about modernizing the entire food value chain. See, it's not just about growing more stuff, it's about processing it, storing it, and trading it efficiently. By investing in everything from mechanized farming and huge irrigation projects to cold chain logistics, the goal is to turn Africa into a net food exporter. And the result of this agricultural revolution? Get this. A projected 30 million new jobs. That's even more than that huge infrastructure push. This isn't just about growing food. It's about completely transforming rural economies and making sure the continent can feed itself.
The third key pillar, well, this is maybe the most fundamental economic shift in the entire plan. For decades, the model has been to export raw resources. The goal now is to flip that script completely and start manufacturing finished, high-value goods right there on the continent.
This shows you the sectors they're targeting. It starts with the basics, those foundational industries like steel and cement. But then it quickly climbs up the value chain to things like automotive manufacturing, including electric vehicles, and even pharmaceuticals. This is about building an industrial base that's diverse and can weather any storm.
The potential impact here is just staggering. Industrialization is projected to create 40 million jobs, which makes it the single largest job creator in the entire plan. I mean, this is the engine that could power a brand new African middle class.
Of course, a plan this huge raises the $5 trillion question. Where in the world does the money actually come from? Well, the answer isn't one single source. It's a really sophisticated, blended financing model.
So here's how it works. It starts with sovereign co-investments, where these funds will match investments made by African governments themselves. It uses public-private partnerships, which are perfect for big infrastructure projects. But then it gets really innovative, using things like digital financial instruments, think tokenized bonds, to let more people invest. And there's a huge guarantee facility that basically acts like an insurance policy to make projects less risky and attract private investors who might be on the fence. So, let's say it all goes according to plan. The financing holds up, the projects get built. What does Africa actually look like in 2031? Well, the expected outcomes are nothing short of transformative.
First, the pure economic output. The continent's GDP is projected to more than triple, leaping from $3 trillion to $10 trillion. That is an incredible jump in economic power.
Next up, the human impact. Across every single sector, the plan is expected to generate 150 million new jobs. That's a life-changing number for millions and millions of families and communities. And this might be the most important number of all. The projected outcome for poverty is a 60% reduction. That's a figure that represents a monumental shift in the quality of life and opportunity for hundreds of millions of people. When you put all of those pieces together, the conclusion is pretty clear. This blueprint is designed to do nothing less than position Africa as the world's next global powerhouse in manufacturing, in energy, and in innovation. Which, of course, leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. We often talk about the American century or the more recent rise of Asia. If a plan on this scale is even partly successful, are we looking at the blueprint for the African century? The answer to that question is going to help define our collective future.